Hello, Nigeria. There's no better place to be, so don't you ever change that dial. What's up, everybody? It's Kabam Zasukwa, and you're watching Hello, Nigeria.
Catchy video is by our guest today. He is the co-founder of Afropolitan Vibes, a conscious singer and entertainer, and his name is Ade Bantu. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Great to have you. We love your music, Lagos Babi.
Yeah, it's for all the girls that like the sophisticated hairstyles, high maintenance, you know.
High maintenance.
But we're careful about the hair politics, okay? So we're not gonna go there.
Yes, because
look
a lot
at
of
me
people
like,
are switching now to the whole natural hair thing, so they'll tell you, that's a lot easier and lot
yeah,
safer.
but we don't discriminate, you know. It's very complicated. Black women and hair. We're not going there.
So now, we're looking at your profile, we saw that you moved back to Nigeria in 1973. And how has the move so far? When you look back, do you wish you had done anything different? Do you wish you had stayed a little longer?
So my parents, 1973, my parents moved back to Nigeria, and basically we stayed here for a couple of years, and I moved back to Germany. And then I fully relocated again as an adult some 9 years ago. So it's been quite a journey. I'm the only one. The rest of my siblings, my parents are still over there in Europe doing their thing.
All right, let's talk about your background. You are biracial, so your mom is German and your dad is Nigerian. Also, we know that at some point you had to sing songs about racism, to fight racism because you faced that. I was having a discussion yesterday with a friend of mine talking about children who are born mixed parentage and how sometimes it's difficult for them to find their identity, or they don't think they're white, neither are they black, and they're just in the middle. How was it like growing up, being born with parents of mixed parentage, living in Nigeria and also living in Germany? How was it like growing up?
It was very exciting. I mean, in terms of food, in terms of the cultures. My mom moved back to Nigeria with my dad, so she was absolutely open. I saw the challenges she faced as a white woman in Nigeria. And I also saw the challenges my father faced and having to deal with family that wasn't really open to the idea of bringing a foreigner back home, you know. But apart from that, it was really good. I mean, it was a loving relationship, and we kind of absorbed all the cultures. And we were never forced to choose sides, you know. Good. I think it's more society. So in Nigeria, you're always like privileged because you're supposed to be something special, you know, being a half caste. And then it comes with a sense of entitlement if you're not careful, if your parents don't ground you. A lot of spoiled brats come in that category. And then going to Europe now and having to deal with the fact that you're not special, but you're black. and so it's not like, you're Oyinbo. No, you're not Oyinbo at all. You are black, no matter how light-skinned you are. So it's trying to like find your peace and also deal with the disappointments, because all of a sudden you're faced with racism, something that doesn't exist in Nigeria. But with time, I kind of found a way through music to kind of like deal with the situation and also to kind of maintain my sanity.
All right, you might say that racism doesn't really exist in Nigeria, but what we face tribalism, we face so much ills like corruption. How can we use music? You use your music to fight all of this. How do we use music really to tell the story? And so far, if you look at the Nigerian music industry, are we really telling the story through music, or is the narrative such that we're focusing on, the flash and the substance? Some people argue that we're using music to promote the ills of society rather than promote dealing with the ills of society. So far, rate our Nigerian music industry with regards to doing what they ought to do with passing this message.
Well, it's a tough one. I think it's layers of problems. You know, when you're not educated, when you're not brought up in a way to be a critical thinker, and then the fact that we've gone through successive regimes of brutal military dictatorship, it's done something to our psyche. So yeah, you have Fela Kuti, who was an exception, but most of the older singers were also praise singers. I mean, Ebenezer Obey, Sonny Ade, or what have you not, even the high life greats. So trying to find your voice as a critical thinker, it is a tough one, but I think music can only stand the test of time if it tells true, authentic stories, and if it engages the powers that be. And what is important for our younger ones now, Nigeria has a spotlight. Nigeria is like the in thing. So you have to go beyond champagne and booty, you know. You have to talk about your realities. You have to reflect on them. because these are the most crucial times ever. We're kind of like maturing in our democracy. There are lots of promises being made, not being kept. And I think music is a good way to communicate frustration, hopes, anxieties, what have you not, because it's a very emotional thing. As Bob Marley said, one good thing about music, when it hits you, you feel no pain, you know, and people reflect through music. So I think it is our duty as entertainers to strike a balance. It's not only about being all political. You can also do a satirical song like what we did, Lagos Barbie, you know, that kind of thing. But we have to reflect. No one is reflecting on the politics at the moment. I think a lot of young artists are too scared. A lot of artists want to play safe. They don't want to rock the boat. They're afraid they will lose their endorsement deals.
Very true.
You know, they're afraid that the politicians won't call them when it's election time. And so a lot of people have been compromised. I would say like 95% of my colleagues, because they've either sang for previous governments or current governments. A lot of them have sold out, basically. So they won't be authentic. And even if they will call for a rally, I mean, who's going to follow them when it's clear that maybe a governor has sponsored your wedding or given you a gift and all that? So you have to be very, very careful that you don't compromise yourself. And you have to find a way to protect yourself as well, because we're living in an environment where the lines are very blurred.
Very true. I mean, very well said, and you hit the nail on the head completely. Now, talking about your music, you, like Olive introduced earlier on, you sing conscious music. You don't just sing music about champagnes and booties, like you said. But how would you class your type of music? Can you class it, or can you, you know, dabble there and dabble here? What is your genre of music?
I think it's just reality. Reality means there are days where I'm down, where I'm frustrated, where I've been queuing for petrol, where they've brought in a new land use charge, where I see a family member has lost their job, or somebody that's been trying to get a job for 10, 20 years and just surviving or coasting. I have to reflect on that. My music has to speak about those things. And there are also times where I'm just in a very good mood and I'm very happy. And Nigeria does that to you. There are moments where you're like, you know, I just need to get to the airport and just leave this space. And other times where people surprise you with their generosity. You know, where you're like, wow, is this real? Are we still like our brothers or our sisters keepers? So I think the music reflects that. We do happy songs, you know, we do satirical songs, we do political, quote unquote, songs. We kind of like balance it out. I'm at a point in my life where I'm totally at peace with who I am, so I don't have to prove myself to anybody, you know.
And there are many people, young people, who are not there yet. We find there's some, in fact, there's an artist whose name is popping up in my head that today they are starting off with this genre, and after a while, when they feel that the audience is not feeling that, they switch to something else. So many young people are losing their original voice in order for them to be able to please the audience. Now, one thing you've done is bringing a lot of young voices together, so you're satisfying the audience with what they want and creating a platform for young people to shine via what you do, the Afropolitan Vibes. Tell us about when Afropolitan, in fact, how did you get the idea for
How it
Afropolitan
started?
Vibes? How did it all start?
It was born out of necessity. I moved back to Nigeria. I was totally green. I was just like, oh, okay, they've been waiting for me. I mean, we've had a couple of hit songs, so it's just going to be a walk in the park. Hell no. Once I said I have a 10-piece band, they're like, no, why don't you do playback? Or they're like, you know what, I don't know if they will be feeling your music. So I called a bunch of friends and I said, you know what, we have to do monthly shows, pretty much like what Lagbaja used to do, or Fela, or Victor Olaya. You know, there's been a tradition of live music. It just died with military dictatorships and the curfews and what have you not. So we said, okay, we're not going to reinvent the wheel, but we're going to bring like-minded people together. And that's what we did with Afropolitan Vibes. And you can see the crowds, they love it. Yeah. Everyone is a VVIP at Afropolitan Vibes. We don't have a VIP table where there's some special interest, you know, being protected there. You know, people jump on stage, they come dance, party with us. And that's the beauty of Afropolitan Vibes. So we started 5 years ago. We just celebrated our 5th anniversary. The show runs every quarter, 3rd Friday of the month. Muri Okola Park, And yeah, it's just a fun thing. And we're the only show in Nigeria, I must say this, that starts dead on time. So when we say 8 o'clock, 8:15 later we're on stage.
How do you manage that?
Exactly, I was just going to ask that.
Because what
It's
miracle are you miracling that other people cannot mirror? Why is it such a big deal to start on time, particularly with concerts? They're the biggest culprit when it comes to timekeeping in Nigeria. Why is it such a big deal to start your concerts on time? I mean, not yours, but please help our brothers and sisters.
I think it's embarrassing when shows don't start on time. You're disrespecting your audience. And you're also disrespecting the artists that you've booked, you know. And it's not rocket science. You just have to make sure that people take you seriously. I think a lot of artists don't actually come on time because they know the organizer won't be prepared. So why come at 8 when it's advertised for 8 when you know they're just going to be loafing around or they're going to claim they have technical difficulties or whatever, you know. We're very professional about it. We have a good team. And what we do is all hands on deck. So it's not like me sitting and lounging and being the superstar. If I have to pick up the speakers, I'll do it. I mean, ultimately, you want your customers to be satisfied.
So even if at 8 p.m. there's nobody in the hall?
We will start.
Brilliant.
And that's how we actually started. So the first 2-3 shows, people are like, ha, ha, ha. They're starting at 10. So they, although we advertised the 8. So they will stroll in at 9:30, 10. And we're just rounding up.
Yeah, that's happened to me. I think the very first time I came to Afropolitan Vibes, I thought, oh, they'll be there till like 12, 1 a.m. And as I was strolling in at 11, they were wrapping up. I'm like, what did I miss? I didn't get the memo.
So the next time, you're like 7 o'clock, you're coming, you're like, okay, I'm ready for this show now.
Exactly.
And it kind of like built from there. So, and the interesting thing is one time, because I was doing Project Fame, I got caught up in traffic because we were recording, everything ran late. So I came in at 8:30. And you can't even imagine the Twitter storm. You know, people are like, they haven't started yet. And it was just 8:30. I was like, wow, okay, this is a
So you already built a reputation.
Yeah,
and people are holding you account to what you standard.
That's beautiful. That is what we should
Very
do,
beautiful.
holding people up to. On a much more lighter note, you used to be on dreads. And now you cut your hair. What happened?
Well, I just had to let go. That was a part of me. And I always wanted to like rock like the bald head look and all that. So here it is.
Oh, yeah, it looks nice.
Yes,
really nice.
Thank you. Yes. So maybe trying to date younger people as well. No, just joking.
All right, we have had the pleasure of Ade Bantu's company here on Hello Nigeria. Such a jolly good fellow.
To enjoy more of these our Ogbonge videos when you just watch, press this button to subscribe on top of our YouTube page. You go love am.